At number 16 is Snowman by Sia. And I do have a science fact for this one, first science fact of today, which is how to make really good snowmen, and specifically for this, what this article is about was making snowballs, and how you can really make like the really nice compact ones, and what is the science behind that. So one thing is that one of the main, like the base concept of it is that water can form really strong hydrogen bonds. Of that is because the way that the water molecule is shaped, you have the hydrogen atoms at the ends, and these can form really strong bonds with each other. And then when water turns into ice, it instead makes this kind of like hexagonal array because of dealing with these bonds instead of just kind of being all over the place like water is. And due to this, of them making these different arrays and having these super strong hydrogen bonds, ice is actually less dense than water, which is why ice floats when you put it into water. The thing is, this also can cause a very interesting phenomenon, which is something called regulation, I think, is how it's pronounced. It could be regulation. Um, but what this means is, what this is that ice actually melts to water under pressure. And then when that pressure is removed, it refreezes back into ice. So that's kind of like a really interesting thing, is that if you add a lot of pressure to ice, even like obviously if you do it with your hands, your hands are very warm. But even if you have something like cold, similar to ice, and you put the pressure on, it will actually melt. And so increasing the pressure pushes the molecules closer together, and because water is more dense than ice, this pressure means that the melting temperature of the ice decreases, which is why it then melts. So when you're making a snowball, the way that this applies is that when you squeeze the snowball, it lowers the melting temperature of the ice crystals inside of the snowball. And if the temperature is right, then this amount of pressure of you squeezing it together will be enough to melt a portion of the ice when you compact it. And so then this liquid water will kind of sit between all of the ice, so that when the pressure is released, when you stop squeezing it, that water then refreezes, and it basically makes it all like really nice and sticky and kind of welds the ice crystals together in the snowball. And so what the snow is now a lot denser, and it is stronger and is more likely to stay together when you throw it, or when you're making a snowman, when you're rolling it up and everything. That's why you really want to, like, when you get taught to kind of like smack it down and like compact it and make sure when you make that core to make a really good nice core, it's because of that. And the thing is, this is very dependent on temperature, because if the temperature is too low outside, the pressure cans actually isn't enough to stick it together, and it just will not melt. And if the temperature is too high, then it's super wet, and so then it's very slushy, and that just does not make a good snowball, and is not safe to throw either. And neither is it really fun to throw. But so yeah, that is actually what is happening when you make those really nice snowballs. Again, let's get back to the countdown. Again, at number 16, it is Snowman by Sia.